Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Chopper here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a deck rundown of Sky Strikers. This is a very fun deck to use, very control based, and I'm going to be giving you guys a rundown on what is in the deck and why. First, we got 3 effect dealers. This can negate a opponent's face-up monster. Basically, it's like infinite, but monster form. And we have him also in here for Celine, for that target to go into access Go Talker easier. We have 3 Maxis, draw power, We have 3 Ash Blossoms. You're going to be running 3 Ray and 2 Rose. And I run 2 Nibiru in my Sky Strikers, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 2 Upstart Goblins for that 1 draw. We have Reinforcement of the Army to search either Rose or Ray. We have Terraform to search for the Sky Striker field spell. We have to engage. This is an add a Sky Striker card. As long as you have no cards in your main monster zone, you can get any Sky Striker spell from your hand or card, any Sky Striker card, including Ray and Rose. And if you have 3 more spells in your graveyard, you get to draw the card. You have Sky Striker Maneuver, Afterburner, and this is basically destroy a face-up monster on the field. And if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, you can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. This is great for popping a monster and a back row. 1 Lightning Storm, self-explanatory what Lightning Storm does. 1 Airspace, Area 0. Basically, you can target 1 card you control, evacuate the top 3 cards of your deck, and add 1 Sky Striker card that was shown from the 3 cards that you showed from the top of your deck. Send the targeted card to the graveyard. If this card in the field zone is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon 1 Sky Striker Ace monster from your deck. This is a great little protection. If it gets destroyed by Harpy's Feather or even Lightning Storm, you're going to be +1 on the field. Mecha Modules multi-roll. This is going to be basically how you recycle your spells. If it's on the field, you can set Sky Striker spells with different names from your graveyard up to the number of Sky Striker spell cards activated this turn. So if you use, say, your Widowmaker and Eagle that turn, you're going to be able to set them both at the end of the turn. You got 2 Called by the Graves, Hornet's Nest, or Hornet Drone, not Nest, Hornet Drones. This is basically like you can summon a token which can go into a Sky Striker monster. So if you don't have a Sky Striker monster in your hand or you use them all, drones is definitely a good way to go, and even easy way to climb the ranks, or your link ranks. Sky Striker Mecha Widowmaker or Widow Anchor, basically monster negate. And if you have 3 more spells in your graveyard, you can take control of your opponent's monster. This is awesome. This also helps you clear your opponent's field and climb your links and go into your access Go Talker. You have 1 Eagle Booster. This is protected. Target 1 face-up monster on the field is unaffected by card effects this turn, except its own. And if you have 3 more spells in your graveyard, it cannot be destroyed by battle. You have 2 Shark Cannons. This basically banishes a card from your opponent's graveyard, but if you have 3 more spells in your graveyard, you can special summon that monster to your field instead, but it cannot attack. And I run 3 evenly matched, and I will give you guys a little rundown on what I use other than evenly matched sometimes. Evenly matched is like if you're going second a lot. At the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, you can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down, so they control the same number of cards as you do. And if you control no cards, you enter your battle phase. Basically, if you go second, you enter your battle phase, you control no cards, and you go into main phase 2, and this will make your opponent banish all of his cards except for 1. So he has no choice in the matter on that. Your extra deck is going to be 1 Sky Striker Ace Kagari. This is basically to recycle a Sky Striker spell. Mainly going to be Engage. Mostly going to be Engage. You have 3 Shizukus. If it's on the field, your opponent loses 100 attack for each spell in the graveyard. And at the end of your turn that it's special summoned, you can grab a Sky Striker spell from your deck with a name different from the cards in your graveyard. So if you have no Engage, you can search your Engage with Shizuku. Next is Sky Striker Ace Hayate. If you're going second and you attack with your, say you attack with your Ray, and then you go into Hayate, then you attack with Hayate, you're going to be able to ditch any Sky Striker spell or Sky Striker card from your deck to your graveyard, and that's going to allow you to ditch Engage, go into Kagari, and then search with Kagari if you need to do it that way. Next is Sky Striker Ace Kaina. This is definitely a play that you do with Ray. Say you have Shizuku on your field, they destroy they battle you, they destroy your Shizuku, your Ray goes on the field. Your opponent's most likely not going to have a lot of monsters, so once Ray gets on the field, you then activate her effect, go into Kaina, and target your opponent's monster. It cannot attack till the end of your opponent's turn. And anytime you activate a Sky Striker spell card, you gain 100 life points. Next is Crystron Halki Fibrax, or I just call it Halki. You two monsters including a tuner, so like you can have your Sky Striker monster, you can then go into your Ash Blossom, or summon your Ash Blossom from your hand, or you summon your Effect Veiler from your hand. You go into Halki. Halki's going to special summon a tuner from your deck, probably going to be an Effect Veiler. You go into Selene, and then Selene, depends on how many spells are on the field and graveyard, it gains a spell counter. And since you're using Sky Strikers, you're going to have a whole lot in your graveyard. And then you remove 3 spell counters from it. You can special summon Effect Veiler, and then you can go into Access Code Talker. So Halki is basically a Access Code Talker climbing tool. You have Nightmare Cerberus, discard a card, target one special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone, destroy it, and if this card is co-linked, you can draw a card. We don't care about the co-link. We're not going to have any monsters in our main monster zone most of the time. Then we have Nightmare Phoenix. It's the same thing except for spells and traps that your opponent controls. Next is Sky Striker Ace Zeke. You can, once this card is link summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field, banish it until your opponent's next end phase. Once per turn, you can target one other card you control. This card then gains 1,000 attack, then send the targeted card to the graveyard. And then that's not even till the end of the turn, that is permanently. So you can send a card to your graveyard, bam, 2,500 attack, and then the following turn 3,500. You can keep doing that. Next is Nightmare Unicorn. Target one card, discard one card, target one card on the field, shuffle it in the deck. So this is like Phoenix and Cerberus, except it doesn't destroy, shuffles it back in the deck. And the draw one card if it's co-linked, we don't care about that. Selene, I already explained with Halki. You can basically Xyz climb into Access Code Talker, and Access Code Talker is your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effects activations. If this card is link summoned, you can target one link monster that was used as a material for its link summon. This card gains attack equal to that monster's link rating times 1,000. This is 3, so you're going to be 5,300. You can banish one link monster from your field or graveyard, destroy one card your opponent controls, also for the rest of the turn. You cannot banish monsters with that same attribute to activate this effect of Access Code Talker. The cool thing about this is a lot of your link monsters have different attributes, so you're not going to have to worry about that. You're going to be able to pop a whole lot, then go for kill. And so the card that you would replace your evenly matched with, if you're feeling spicy, is a card called Kaiser Coliseum. And this card is, if there's one or more monsters on the field of this of the controller of this card, his or her opponent cannot place a monster on the field if his or her number of monsters would exceed the number of monsters that are on the field of this controller's card. The cards that are already on the field before this card's activation are unaffected by this card effect. So this is kind of like you're only going to have one monster on your field. This is going to make your opponent be locked into only one monster on their field, and most of the time this is going to kill a lot of decks, and this is a great turn 1 card if you open it. And I'm going to get right into the replays. Alright, so here is duel number 1, and I'm just going to let it speak for itself. So he literally triple sets. Now, I have Harpy Feathers in hand. I'm like, okay, he triple set. I'm going to activate Harpy Feather Duster. he had Droplet, Infinite Impermanence, and Dragon Maid Tidying. So he's playing Dragon Maid. I activate 2 Upstart Goblins. I activate my Terraforming, grab my Sky Striker Airspace. So I'm going to send the Afterburners to the grave. And I'm actually going to grab the Widow Anchor here off of that. So I'm going to attack with Ray, then use Ray's ability or effect to go into Hayate. I'm going to end up ditching a engage. I'm going to go into Kagari. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. I love Kagari's artwork. So I'm going to bring back engage to hand. I'm going to activate engage. I'm going to grab my Eagle Booster and my Reinforcement of the Army. I'm going to go into Shizuku here. I'm going to set my Eagle Booster and my Widow Anchor here. I'm going to grab a Shark Cannon. And I'm loving where this is going. So he just ends his turn, and at this point I immediately go, oh man, he bricked. So I draw in a Nibiru. I go, okay, well, I'm going to summon my Ash Blossom. I'm going to go into Halki Fibrax here. I'm going to activate his effect. I'm going to special summon an Effect Dealer. Then I'm going to go into Celine. I'm going to use Celine's effect to remove some spell counters. To special summon Effect Dealer. So with Celine, you have to have Effect Dealer for this card to work because it special summons 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. And this is the only spellcaster card in our deck. And it's amazing. It's a hand. It is a tuner too. That way it combos with the Halki, and it also works as a hand trap to further your own plays. So I'm going to go for the airspace here, and I don't believe it works. Yeah, it does not work, so I just activate it to grab a rose here. And now I'm going to swing with Access Go Talker. He has nothing else for me to pop. And I set the Shark Cannon here. And he's going to draw. He's going to activate Raigeki from hand. And this is where he misplays. Or I don't know if it's a misplay, but I think it was like a last-ditch effort. He activates Forbidden Droplet, thinking that, okay, that's going to somehow stop the Eagle Booster if he ditches his Raigeki. That's not how Droplet works. I don't know if he knows that or not, but that's not how it works. Plus, Eagle Booster saves us from the Raigeki. Eagle Booster's OP. Eagle Booster can't be affected by card effects this turn, except its own card effects. So Access Code is going to stay on the field. I guess he had no way around it, and that's game 1. Alright, so for this game, my opponent actually made me go first, and I went, I wonder what he's running. He's running 43 cards. I know a couple of decks that can run 43. I'm like, okay, is this guy running Cyber Dragon? A lot of Cyber Dragon decks run 43. So I activate Reinforcement and the Ash Blossoms immediately. And I went, that is some bull, man. Because now I have to waste my engage. I'm going to activate my multi-roll here. I'm going to grab my engage to go for a Ray. I'm going to summon Ray. I'm going to end. And that's where I misplayed. I meant to go into Kagari and then into Shizuku. I forgot I went first. It was just so surprising. Like, I rarely ever get made to go first. And I found out that he is playing Code Talkers. First video I've ever uploaded on this channel revolves around the Code Talker deck. But what I really noticed is he's using Stack Reviver. Not a very good card to run with your Code Talkers, in my opinion. I prefer not to run him. It's way more consistent without him. Because right there, if he was running just something else to further his plays better than this, because he's a normal summoner. You want extenders that don't need normal summons. And that's what my version of Code Talkers, if you haven't watched the video, I definitely suggest go watching it. He goes into Splash Mage and he summons this. Like, that's the only extending play that it does, and that's not good enough in my opinion, where he special summons a card. So right here, I'm going to Effect Veiler his Splash Mage. This is going to kill his deck, or his plays immediately. So his Splash Mage gets yoinked. He's going to go into Transcode. and then he's going to go into his Flash Mage. His Flash Mage can't pop his effect. He's going to go into Access Code. And this is where he made a mistake. He should immediately go for the Ray. He should pop the Ray, but instead he pops my engage and then my multi-roll, then tries to swing. So I immediately go into Kaina here to make him not be able to talk. He tries the Signet backdoor. This is a card that is actually not bad, but it's not good. You know, it's not a good card. I don't run it. I don't feel the need to run it, but it's not a bad card to run in a Code Talker deck. So I Ash Blossom that. I go, nah. I want your Access Code Talker to be on that field. You know, I'm gonna be able to do some tasty plays. So I make it to where he can't attack with Kaina. So it is my turn, and he scoops. So right there, he knew. Okay, he maxed seed. He has a pretty beefy hand. I did have a pretty beefy hand. I didn't have any way to really go hard. I could Afterburner. I could have gone into a Access Code Talker of my own with the Widowmaker, or not the Widowmaker, the Shark Cannon in hand. Plus I had Afterburner to destroy his own whatchamacallit, Access Code Talker beforehand. Plus I do have Upstart. I can draw a card. Plus I can go into Kagari to get my engage. No, the engage is gone. No, yeah, this is bad. He shouldn't have scooped. Yes, his Access Code Talker would have been gone, but there should be other ways for him to play around it. So that's game 2. Alright, so this is game 3, and for my opening hand, we have a Ray, a Rose, a Feather Duster, a Shark Cannon, and a multi-roll. So immediately, he's going to set 1, and he's going into a Draco Berserker. If you don't know what this card does, it basically goes fuck you if you try to activate a monster effect. It banishes a card from if you try to activate an effect, it banishes it. If this card destroys a effect monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, this card gains an attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Also can make a second attack on a monster during this battle phase. So both effects are once per turns. So I knew, okay, what can I draw? I drew Afterburners, baby. So I Harpy Feather Duster the back row. I Afterburners the Draco Berserker. I activate the multi-roll. He's gonna maxi. I go, okay, I have to let him draw 1 card because I'm just gonna go into Shizuku. I summon Ray, I attack. I go into Shizuku. Bam. I attack again. So I set Shark Cannon. I grab Engage from deck to hand with Shizuku. And right here he's going to summon a Supei Duskwalker. If he's going to summon Supei, he's going to go into Goyo Predator. And so he destroys it. And Ray's effect pops. So at the end phase, I use Ray to go into Shizuku again. And I activate Shark Cannon here because I'm dumb and thought I had 3 spells in my graveyard and didn't check. I misplayed, but I have multi-roll on the field just in case anyways. Plus, I could have gotten a second Shark Cannon with the second engage. So I just went, okay, I'm just going to recycle the Shark Cannon. What can I do? I'm dumb. I'm big dumb. So I draw the Effect Veiler, and I know what a lot of people could say, you know, why don't you just summon the Effect Veiler to do the play? Why use your own resources when you can use your opponent. So here, you know, I have Widow Anchor. I'm going to yoink his Predator. I use the Shark Cannon to get his Supe, and he scoops because he knows what's going to happen. I'm going to go into Access Code Talker. I'm going to win. So that's it. That is Sky Strikers. Probably one of my favorite decks to use, really. It definitely is a hit or miss sometimes if you're going to build them, but definitely worth it in the end. It's a really fun deck to use. It's definitely a deck you have to think, and your opponent has to think to get around. It's super, super interactive. It's fun. It's not like stopping your opponent dead in his tracks or he can't play. If you're more into interactive gameplay, this deck is definitely for you, but it also can lock down extremely, extremely hard. This is a fun deck to use. I 100% recommend the build. Thanks guys for watching. Subscribe and like if you want more deck profiles and breakdowns so you guys know how to use or how to go against said decks. Later.